Welcome back to DC Silver Age Storytime, and today's story comes from Action Comics number 262, published in March 1960, with story by Robert Bernstein and art by Wayne Boring. Super speed, flying, invulnerability, super strength, X-ray vision, these are all but a few of the amazing superpowers Superman uses to protect mankind against all dangers. But what if suddenly the Man of Steel became a man of flesh? What if there is no longer anything super about Superman? How can an ordinary man save his life and the lives of his dearest friends his when only superpowers can do the job? That is the hopeless problem which one day confronts the Man of Steel when Superman loses his powers. Great Caesar's ghost! That's Superman waiting. What's Superman waiting for? Why doesn't he attack that flying dragon? Go, Superman, go! Stop the flame-breathing monster before he destroys us. Gulp. What am I going to do? Perry, Jimmy, and Lois don't realize I've lost all my superpowers in this strange world. I'm an ordinary man now, as helpless as they are to fight this menace. So the whole crew, Jimmy, Lois, Clark, and then Perry White, are off on a exploration in Mexico. Gosh, it's real spooky. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Jimmy. Gosh, it's real spooky in here. Imagine, this is the tomb of a great Aztec king. He was a cruel tyrant who made slaves of his people. And Clark reads, a warning. The guy just translated, whoever enters the king tomb is doomed to spend 2 days in a world so dangerous that no one has ever returned from it. So, okay, wonder how anyone has any, well, I guess they went in and didn't come out. Bunk, if you're afraid, Clark, I'll hold your hand. Come on, boys, let's see what's inside. So they go in there and they, whoosh, find themselves in a different world. Great Caesar's ghost! This is black magic. We've been transported to the weirdest world I ever saw. It certainly isn't our Earth. Look at the size of those bees. Watch out, Clark. Well, Clark gets stung. Now, I got stung about a month ago when I was out running by a little tiny bee or wasp or something. I cannot imagine the pain of being stung by a man-sized bee. Great guns! Gasp! Pain! I feel pain as Superman. I should be invulnerable. I have unbreakable skin under my Clark Kent clothes. I'm wearing an indestructible Superman uniform. But you could see there it's a red sun. So he has no powers. I feel the heat of the sun, the pain of the bee sting, the heavy weight of my pack. And your body, I would think. Every human discomfort. Good grief, I've lost all my superpowers. I've become an ordinary mortal in this world. So they see these giant spiders, and notice that when the spiders see the color purple, they go crazy, spinning their webs. You're right, Clark. When I reversed my jacket to its yellow side, the spider stopped spinning. What sort of strange world is this? And suddenly they are attacked by a dragon. Look at that flame-breathing flying dragon. Now I understand why the Aztec inscription said nobody ever survived 48 hours. Stop worrying, Lois. They never had Superman to help them. So Clark thinks, a groan. What ironies. Jimmy is relying on Superman, not knowing I'm as powerless as he is. What am I going to do? So I guess the dragon flies off. Perry, Jimmy, gasp. I'm weak. I can't take another step. This terrific heat's got me. And I think I have a fever. I'll rest in this cave. You go on without me. So Lois thinks he's faking it, even though he got stung by a ridiculously huge bee. And she thinks that he's actually faking it so he can reappear as Superman. But now that he is normal, he can show the swelling, although she still doubts, but then she just carries along penicillin with her, and gives him a shot. I guess Superman must be on, so he uses his watch to call Superman. I guess Superman must be on some mission in outer space where the signal can't reach, or you're in a whole different universe or something, I don't know. That penicillin shot made me groggy, so I'd better get some rest. Restful sleep if I'm to appear later as grown and unsuper Superman. Jimmy, look at that huge rainbow. It's got every color except purple, recorded on color film. So Superman, the non-powered Superman, wants to convince them that he's super, so he goes and he finds this enormous egg and punches a hole in it, which seems not nice. He allows the sun to bake whatever is in it, puts some dirt around it, and then punches a hole in the bottom so the contents drain out. Then when the folks come over, all the rest of the crew, um, and find Superman. It's Superman. Are we glad to see you? So he stands there as the contents is clearly draining out right there, and then it falls on him just so he can convince them that he's invulnerable. Golly, Superman's invulnerable body reduced that huge boulder to dust as if it were an eggshell. Just as I planned, they mistook that huge gray egg for a boulder, and it toppled over after enough sand ran through the hole. Now that they think I'm really super, I don't know how they don't notice that it's not a boulder. Also, he just killed whatever creature was theoretically inside of it, just to give the impression that he's super. I feel like there's other ways he could. I don't know. Okay, Superman, now fly us out of here. This place is dangerous. Why not stay the 48 hours, Perry? I'll protect you and you'll return to Earth with a sensational scoop. Sure, Perry, what have we got to lose except our lives? Superman will fight off any menace. All we get is sunburn. And he's like, oops, yeah, I'll get sunburned too. So he decides he needs to avoid the sun. So the dragon, that night, the dragon comes back again. Oh, and by the way, Superman kept some of the dust from the eggshell. Now I'll use the dehydrated egg dust I put in the pouch and fling it like pepper into the monster's eyes, temporarily blinding it. Now, mind you, that egg was this dragon's egg. So he's taking the powder from the egg of the baby, throwing it in the dragon's eye. I also feel like that egg would be way too big even for this dragon. Look, the dragon is fleeing Superman. Leave it to Superman. He's too tough for any creature. So how is Superman flying with no superpowers? Well, he made a makeshift glider. Leonardo da Vinci glided like this centuries ago. From below, nobody can see the wooden frame, so they'll never realize I lost my power to fly. Luckily, it's night. Whew! I hit a downdraft that dropped me faster than I intended. I could have been killed if I hadn't landed on this lush bed of grass. Now for a good night's sleep. And so he uses some telescope or some binoculars to sort of duplicate his supervision. He can read lips, and he can read that Lois Lane says she's going to check on Clark. So, he needs to get back, but he doesn't have super speed. So what can he do? Perry and Jimmy are out fishing, so he goes back to the giant spiders who are in his way and takes the time to remove his clothes and the red and blue. Now that his costume is no longer super, they bleed ink, making purple. And so the spiders go crazy, spinning a web. Now he can run across. Now I can leapfrog to the other side, springing from one web to another. It's hardly super speed, but at least I'll have beaten Lois to the cave. And he does, and she finds him shaving with a presumably sharpened rock. And then she snips off a lock of his hair. I must do this, Clark. Saving a lock of your hair will always remind me never again to suspect you of being Superman. Be my guest. So, Jimmy Olsen's bag with his camera is stolen by this creature. I saw that creature before. Its mouth is too tiny to bite me. Really? That mouth is too tiny to bite him? The only problem is, how do I breathe underwater? So I guess he's just diving into the water like a regular person. Do you think Superman is all right? Are you kidding? That's Superman. He can tackle an ocean full of sea serpents. Superman can live for years underwater, or indefinitely. It's a good thing Lois and the others can't see me now, trapped underwater, till this stupid giant eel decides to let me go. I'm breathing through two reeds. One for inhaling, one for exhaling, like the snorkel principle, so no bubbles rise. I figured the colors of my uniform wouldn't run in this cold, salt water, and it hasn't. Ho-hum. Nothing to do now but wait for the creature to swim off and let me surface. I haven't the strength to get out of its grip. They caught some fish and they said, well, Superman will just use his X-ray vision, but he doesn't have X-ray vision. So how does he duplicate that? So he creates a pit. And was it a gopher pit or something? A giant gopher hole? Or I guess it's just there. And he throws more of that egg dust in the air just to attract the dragon, just to mess with him again. Dives into the hole, and the dragon breathes its fiery breath and apparently cooks them to perfection. Um, what took you so long, Clark? Where's Superman? He had to take off to handle an emergency, but the 48 hours will soon be up. Right, we'll fall asleep here and wake up in Mexico, and what a story we'll bring back. Senor, you are not gone 2 days, only 2 minutes. You must have dreamed this adventure. And poor Jimmy Olsen, his film is ruined. But they're thinking now that maybe it was just a dream. Who can say what really happened to us? Who cares if we only dreamed it? I've got all my superpowers back. My uniform is indestructible again. It's a pleasure to be struck by lightning once more. Yep. Maybe we were just brief victims of some ancient magic spell, all dreaming the same dream. So what? I'm Superman again, and I can help mankind again. Superman pushing our stalled car off the tracks. We're saved. Clark, that lock of your hair, I can't cut it now. It's like steel, but only Superman has indestructible hair. So how could this be your hair? Darn, Superman's secret identity. Anyway, I'm more confused than ever. Also, is this a plot hole? I mean, that's kind of evidence. Plus, his super uniform would be kind of drained of color. I did not like this story. I didn't like it at all. I don't like when Superman, I mean, not that it happens very often, but when he loses his powers and then he's still the toughest of all of them. And why did he even do it? I mean, I guess it's because in his mind, Clark Kent can't protect them because he's supposed to be meek and mild. So he had to pretend he was Superman just to protect the rest of them. I don't know. Did not like this story. Anyway, so that's the day Superman lost his powers.